Texas is currently on fire at civil war. Everyone's mad. Some Texas representatives have been exposed to do really hilariously terrible things, and we have to talk about all of it, all right? Texas is being conquered by Sharia law right now. A lot of people don't know about this, but the Muslim Brotherhood directly said that they want Texas to be their barracks in America. That is a direct quote from Erdogan from Turkey, okay? Our direct quote. We also have to talk about other ICE situations and illegal immigration issues. This is an insane video, a crazy deep dive. I did a lot of research, and I'm very excited to radicalize you, all right? I'm just warning you in advance. Warning you in advance. If you do not want to be Islamophobic, I suggest you leave. If you want to be Islamophobic, well, this is the place for you. This is the place for you. So, ICE New Orleans released a tweet. In the month of January, ICE New Orleans was on fire. Arrests, 2,700. Deportations, 11,000. Gang arrests, 25. All right, well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And, you know, I'm seeing a lot of people being like, those are rookie numbers. We got to up those numbers. And I agree. I agree. We need to protect the Shire. We need to deport the orcs. They could leave if they themselves. All right, they could leave themselves. That's cool. They could also leave via trebuchet, where we launch them in the general Mexico direction. All right. I fully support both of these ideas, except when you actually do the math, deportations 10,000 in January in just New Orleans. Yeah, that's awkward. That's 3% of the population. ICE deported 3% of New Orleans in 1 month. This is what we call, oh my god, oh my god, they're stealing elections. This is insane. Usra, this is diabolical levels of W's that we're getting. That is 3% of New Orleans. Yes, it's only 10,000, but my god, that's insanity. Anyway, we keep going. The grind don't stop. They all need to go. Someone called me a racist, so I decided to triple down. This is Mayor Zohran Mamdami, and he had a meeting with Donald Trump yesterday, all right? So this is him. This is an actual productive meeting. This is what it looked like from the side view. This is the side view of Zohran Mamdani meeting up with Donald Trump. As you can see, they had a very fruitful conversation, and Donald Trump decided to give him certain zoning permits, it seems. So this is the side version. And right now, the left is kind of really shitting on him because, as you can see, this tweet of Zohran Mamdani got 20 million views, forced to glaze Donald Trump, and now Donald Trump is actually fighting for America. And it turns out it's a terrible day, quite literally, for all of the leftoids, because it seems like Donald Trump's actually fighting for America, and the left is fighting for the illegal aliens. It's honestly pretty incredible stuff. It really is. So, you know, Trump is doing his best to make things better. Now, this is the crazy thing. For those of you that are unaware, there's been a New York situation developing. Speaking of Sharia law, I have to show you what's happening to New York before we get to the shit show in Texas. All right? So recently, the NYPD was getting attacked wherever they were going by migrants and leftists. Right? I already showed you this clip in the past, so I don't want to dwell on it too much. But essentially, they ended up throwing chunks of ice at these police officers. And, like, you see, they're bleeding from the One of them ends up getting hospitalized because of this. The unbelievable patience of these cops. These guys are legends. Of course, Zohran Mamdani's response to all this is, it was just kids being kids. It was just a snowball fight.
From the videos that I've seen, it looks like a snowball fight. I think that there were 2 officers who were facing lacerations on their face.
All for prosecution of those who pelted them?
Look, I've seen the videos of this snowball fight. I think that it was a snowball fight.
So he responds multiple times, pretty insane stuff. It's a snowball fight, it's a snowball fight, nothing to see here, nothing going on. It's just some lacerations on the face, nothing to see here, not a big deal. They were literally hospitalized and bleeding from their eyes, by the way. So Zohran Mamdani doubles down. I've seen the videos, kids throwing snowballs at the NYPD officers. It's just kids, guys, it's kids. Meanwhile, this is right after Zohran Mamdani said in 2020, responding to, I saw a cop crying in his car, Lamau, with nature is healing. It's almost like we literally are importing Islamist retards from other countries to conquer us and destroy our law enforcement to conquer us from within. Nux, you're being so Islamophobic right now. I warned you, this video was going to get there, and it's going to get a lot worse, all right? If you are a goat fucker, this video will offend you, all right? I'm just letting you know in advance. If you're not a goat fucker, don't forget to subscribe. It's very important. Now, this is pretty insane stuff, too. Zohran Mamdani did another press conference when they asked him again about this.
So, Mr. Mayor, are you willing to revise your statement regarding the snowball fight, given that this was not exactly a friendly back and forth snowball fight? The police that were there were not throwing any snowballs. They were getting pelted themselves. And number two, have you considered, or would you consider banning these crowdsourcing events, because they can and sometimes do get out of hand?
So I'm not going to be banning snowball fights or organized snowball fights.
That is not what was asked at all. You absolute degenerate.
I've shared my thoughts with New Yorkers, and I continue to believe that what we are...
It's almost like this guy just hates police and wants them to die. It's almost like this dude wants to cripple the law enforcement arm of our country so he could conquer us from within or something. But hey, that's just a theory.
Seeing in this response, this winter blizzard, from the city workers as a whole, and that includes the hardworking men and women of the NYPD, is part of why the city's getting back on its feet.
The city is not getting back on its feet. 19 people died of freezing on the New York streets because he decided he was going to stop the homeless sweeps. Now, anyway, this is pretty insane. It turns out these kids involved in a snowball fight were arrested because the cops, they actually don't give a fuck about what Zohran Mamdani had to say.
The NYPD making an arrest in Monday's snowball
my.
attack on police in Washington Square Park. The 27-year-old Guzman Kolabali is under arrest.
Guzman, a straight white male, once again.
For his role in Monday's attack. That left
Wow.
2 New York police officers.
It's a Christian nationalist if I've ever seen one.
Injured.
Another Hasidic Jewish Zionist act of terror.
No stranger to police. He was arrested just a few weeks ago for an attempted robbery in the transit system. You'll remember this is how Mayor Mamdani described Monday's incident.
That's right. It's just a little snowball fight.
I can just tell you from the video I saw, it looked like kids at a snowball fight.
Yeah. Just kids at a snowball fight. 27-year-old foreigner migrant kids attacking police officers with the support of the mayor of New York. Totally not insurrection-y or anything. And this is the footage of Guzman getting arrested by the NYPD for assault charges. Bye, bro. Bye, dude. Someone should snowball fight with him on the way out. Peacefully speak. I'm just being peaceful here. This is not me advocating for violence. I just think that people should have a peaceful snowball fight with him personally. I think that'd be really funny, especially if it's in prison. That'd be funny. So this 27-year-old kid migrant that attacked police officers, he fucked around and he found out. And Zohran Mamdani is not happy about this. I mean, bro's busy. As you can see here, he is with a lot of his white friends practicing Ramadan.
Family, to all our city agencies.
Yeah. Beautiful stuff, beautiful stuff. So anyway, so this is currently what stuff's going on. Muslim prayers with the NYPD before allowing them to eat with him. Because it's Ramadan, of course. We have to be respectful to other cultures. What do you mean? Now, New York City recently did a shtick where they allowed people to get jobs to shovel snow. All right, so they pay them $30 an hour to shovel snow. Now, they need 2 pieces of ID, which is hilarious because he doesn't believe you need ID to vote, but they do believe that you need ID to shovel snow. So, what did these guys do? These guys are all being paid $30 an hour from our tax dollars, all right? Our tax dollars are paying these people $30 an hour for this. Yeah. Yeah, so anyway, they got a good 14 city workers to clear one little pile of snow for $30 to $45 an hour per person, all tax funded on one little street corner. Yeah, so essentially, this is insane. This is just another way for Zohran Mamdani to take tax money and give it to retards. It's unbelievable. It's incredible. Now, Zohran Mamdani recently released this whole ad in Spanish.
No es el mejor. No te preocupes, alcalde. Si su hijo o hija está...
Yeah, anyway, so I covered this in a previous video, but essentially, he's wondering, why are they out of money? Why are they out of money? Well, it turns out they literally are promising free daycare to illegal aliens. Zohran Mamdani last week, we're broke. We're going to need to raise property taxes by 10%. Zohran Mamdani this week, we're offering free daycare for illegals. Well, that's the game. That's the game, everybody. Are we on the same page? I'm really glad we understand the same page. Yeah. So they're out of money because they're taking our tax dollars and giving it to retards and invaders. All right. Understand, this is how they conquer us. This is the silent war that we've been fighting. Now, Tom Homan, the wall, does not back down. So the Pope recently, I don't know, man, you guys got a woke Pope this time. I don't know what y'all are doing over there. So the Pope is like, we need to be accepting to all the neighbors and stuff like that. Essentially, they asked Tom Homan, how could you go against the words of the Pope?
What is your response to Pope Leo for being critical of the Trump administration when it comes to deporting illegals?
Well, look, I'm a lifelong Catholic, still practicing Catholic. Catholic faith is always in support of law enforcement, always has been, and he should be too. I've said it many times before, you ought to be fixing the Catholic Church because they got their own issues. But bottom line is, you know, if we jump the wall at the Vatican, the penalties for doing that are much harder than the ones here in the United States.
Oh my. Oh, what's with those walls around the Vatican? Are you telling me that no one's illegal on stolen land? You could jump into the Vatican, sir?
Country legally. So, look, what he doesn't understand is the flip side to illegal immigration. 31% of women get raped making that journey.
Is that bad? I think that's bad. Thoughts on rape?
Over 4,000 aliens died making that journey under Joe Biden. 250,000 Americans died of fentanyl because of the open border. When you overwhelm the Border Patrol, all the bad things happening. Sex trafficking increases, fentanyl increases. Securing the border saves lives. And I'd be happy to sit down and explain it to them. But illegal immigration is not a victimless crime. So President Trump having illegal immigration on 96%, he's saving thousands of lives every.
That's right. So anyway, it's really cute watching people in their like gigantic gated countries talk about how immigration is bad. But are you insane? You would deport them the moment they broke in. You think you would just have rapists and migrants breaking into the Vatican and they wouldn't get deported? Are you insane? That's essentially what he's trying to say, and I mean that with love and respect. But again, ever since I saw like tweets like this from the Pope just misquoting scripture, you know, before Almighty God who commanded thou shalt not kill, and throughout human history every person always had dignity, God never said thou shalt not kill. God said thou shalt not murder. You know, so when I see stuff like this, it's like, it seems like there's an agenda. I'm not trying to say there is, all right? I'm just saying it seems like there is, and I wonder what it is. Anywho, people are having enough. So this is a group of Maryland sheriffs blasting the Democrats.
This is nothing more than politics over public safety.
That's right.
And we as elected sheriffs are fed up with it. You don't see this many sheriffs in one location in the state at any given time. But we have to come together in unison to stop the ridiculousness that's going on up here in Annapolis, Maryland. And lawmakers need to wake up and realize Marylanders and the American people want public safety over politics, and they're not getting it.
That's right. And these guys are like, we need to deport people killing Americans. Like, what are we doing? And the politicians are like, no, we're trying to steal elections. You have to leave the illegal rapists on the streets. The more rape, the better we win elections. Because people that get raped, they vote Republican. People that do the raping vote Democrat. So we need them. It's so important. Now you understand how this all works. It's pretty incredible stuff. Now, anyway, Illinois congressional candidate Kat calls to throw ICE agents in prison and wants mass amnesty and citizenship for millions of illegals. It's almost like they hate America.
Abolish and prosecute ICE. We need to repeal the Patriot Act. We need to lift refugee caps. And we need to offer complete amnesty and citizenship to any immigrant here who has not committed a violent crime.
Why?
Additionally, we need trials. There is no moving forward without justice. Stern words for Greg Bovino.
Special trials for every single individual of the 30 million illegals that jumped over the border.
Aren't enough. Body cameras aren't enough. We need people willing to put everything on the line, not when it's politically convenient, and not have their hands in their pockets.
All right, so this is another pro-rape leftist. I'm sure she would be upset to hear me say that, but unfortunately that's what she is. What can I say? She doesn't believe in this. Unfortunately, it's rough. It's not easy, but she doesn't believe in this philosophy.
Stop raping, sir.
She just can't. She doesn't believe that. She's pro-rape, it seems. That's my opinion. That's my analysis. A lot of people would probably be upset at me, but pro-rape woman, another pro-rape woman elected. Pretty weird how this keeps happening. But this is the plan. Their plan is destroy and abolish immigration enforcement literally bring in all the retards and rapists into our country, and then poof, give them amnesty immediately. Now they're American citizens. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that great? I think that's beautiful. So it's unbelievable that we have retards like this. This is a congressional candidate. And again, she's going to get the retard vote. She's going to say this, and all the illegal aliens that are falsely voting in elections, all the TikTok moms that are, out there with all their empathy and bullshit, they're all going to vote for people like this because they're retarded. This is quite literally the rape of our country in real time. All right? And this is the craziest part. And it keeps happening.
Breaking today, federal agents raiding the Los Angeles Unified School District headquarters and the home of Superintendent Alberto Carvalho. The FBI confirming that it executed search warrants, but withholding any further detail. The superintendent has recently made headlines for fighting with federal officials over immigration enforcement efforts in his district.
Are you serious?
Okay, John, thank you.
Like, this ruins everything for all Americans if this happens. All right, Carvalho bragged about being an illegal alien. The district misplaced $76 million in taxpayer funds. How does this happen? How does this happen? You mean to tell me there's an illegal alien in a position of power, and all of a sudden millions go missing? It's so weird how this keeps happening. Like, what are we doing? This is insane. Complete insanity. Watching our country fall apart like this because we need to have empathy for the retards. We're going to get to Texas, don't worry. Now, this is, breaking news. A foreigner with a Minnesota license drove a truck for miles on the wrong side of the road. On the wrong side of the road.
How much of a winning issue?
Like, he's literally driving a truck on the wrong... I don't even know how you could do this. I don't even know how this is possible.
It is.
18-wheeler going the wrong way down southbound 61.
Bro, look at this. I've never seen this before in my life.
He is on the northbound lanes of 61 going the wrong way.
Dude, this is insane.
You can see I'm going southbound on 61. He's in the northbound lanes on Highway 61.
This is actual clown world. What, does this make our country better, Democrats? Really? Does it make our country better when we have this? Yeah, anyway, it keeps going. First of all, pull off to the side, you absolute dumb fuck. What are you doing? Now, a lot of people are like, Nux, you're probably being racist here, assuming it's an illegal alien. I didn't need to assume. I see a truck driving on the wrong side of the fucking highway. I know he's an illegal alien. I know he can't read English. I know he doesn't understand street signs. He's probably Indian. All right? Breaking news. Confirmed, semi-truck driver was captured speeding on the wrong side of the highway, received his license from Tim Walsh, Minnesota, failed to identify road signs during a test. No, I can't believe it. I can't believe this would happen. Nux, why didn't you say Somalian? It's in Minnesota. Oh, because I don't think Somalians could drive. Trucks aren't camels, okay? You can't get around on that shit, you know what I'm saying? Unless it's like on the high end of the spectrum. I'm being generous. Anyway, this is insanity. So this is quite literally an illegal alien driving the wrong side on the highway because he can't read English and he's given licenses by the government.
Patrol eventually pulled over that driver who had a legal commercial driver's license from
Insane.
Minnesota. But
a lot of Americans are unemployed that would love that job, but they can't get that job because they are giving the job to a guy that broke into our country illegally and can't fucking read street signs.
Patrol says during that stop, our commercial vehicle enforcement troopers conducted a driver inspection and determined the driver could not properly identify road signs.
Wow.
As mandated by federal motor carrier regulations.
How does that happen?
Federal motor carrier guidelines, he was placed out of service and not allowed to continue driving. Here's what we know about this particular trucking business. Cargo Transportation LLC.
I was wrong. It's in a high IQ Somali.
Is run out of
I can't believe it. I was sure it was an Indian.
Hopkins, Minnesota, just outside Minneapolis. It was registered in 2023 to an Abdulwali Ahmed.
Ahmed Abdulwali, probably a straight white Christian male if I had to guess. If I had to guesstimate, I would say that was a straight white Christian male.
And only has 2 drivers, one of whom presumably can't read road signs. But still, last year the company drove more than 81,000 miles. We've reached out to both Cargo Transportation and Minnesota's Commercial Driver's License Division for comment. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration is now investigating this particular company as the administration continues its push to crack down on foreign...
Yeah, crazy how this happens. Deepest apologies to all the Indians in chat. Except, what if I told you that 3 illegal aliens pled guilty to sex trafficking minors in Omaha in a ring connected to Trendy Aragua?
The Douglas County Attorney's Office says the investigation is still ongoing, but we do know...
The left, the party of rape.
Those 6 men are in jail. He says a minor was brought here to Omaha from another city. Omaha police arrested these 5 men on Tuesday. They include Sumit Shadari, Vishal Goswami, Kavan Kumar Patel, Michael Martinez Gonzales, and Alfredo Zambrano Hurtado.
It's an... Zambrano Hurtado! It's literally an entire retard squad of foreigners from different countries that all got together to sex traffic children. A bunch of straight white men. A bunch of Zionists. Yeah, I'm noticing lots of Zionists among them.
A 6th man, Eduardo Perdermo, faces 5 other charges.
Oh, great.
We're in the process of charging several of them.
And this guy was out on the streets. Interesting.
With trafficking charges, sexual assault charges. It appears to be, the allegations is a 15-year-old girl who was brought here from another city and trafficked by somebody from this other city. So we'll have more details as we go along here.
We asked Klein if this sex trafficking case...
This is like a daily story, by the way.
...is connected to a Venezuelan gang known as Tren de Aragua.
Do we know, I guess, if the TDA gang is involved in all that at all with these cases?
That's something I'm very interested in, and there's a possibility.
Klein says Omaha isn't immune to crimes like sex trafficking.
I think sometimes people don't believe that, hey, sex trafficking can't happen in Omaha, Nebraska. You know, we're not in a gigantic city. We're not.
Right. So anyway, it turns out it does happen, actually. And it turns out it's done by specific people. Now, get a load of this one. Breaking. Get a load of this one. America's first Muslim federal judge, Zahid Qureshi, is now threatening to haul in DHS and DOJ officials, get ready, if they continue arresting illegals and refusing to release them into the U.S. It's insane. We're literally giving power to foreigners that hate us and hate our country. This Biden judge is trying to block ICE from operating, should be removed from the bench. How the hell is ICE supposed to allow illegals who have no right to be here to be released on bond? They can be released without bond in their own countries. Trebuchet, launch them away. So once again, not trying to make you Islamophobic or anything. Dude, I keep having people in my chat being like, is he foreign? Bro's name is Zahid Qureshi. What do you mean, is he foreign? Are you serious? Anyway, not trying to be racist or anything, but like this dude ain't a straight white Christian. All right, I'm just saying. I'm noticing he's not a straight white Christian male. You know, let's be honest for just a second. Here we have a foreigner in the government as a judge, quite literally trying to end immigration enforcement. Like, this is insanity. We don't need to live like this. We do not need to live like this where we are bringing people in, giving them power over us, and then they're destroying us. This is a masked mob attacking police cars in Maryland. And this is all the time, by the way.
New video showing the moment a masked mob attacked a police cruiser in Maryland. The incident taking place during a chaotic street takeover over the weekend, as agitators blocked traffic in all directions while others performed high-speed donuts in their cars. No officers were injured, but 2 police vehicles were vandalized. Now, this comes after Maryland Governor Wes Moore touted the success of his anti-crime policies during his State of the State address earlier this month. Watch.
Homicides are down nearly 50% statewide, and we are delivering historic drops in crime in every single corner of the state. And in fact, the last time the homicide rate was this low in Baltimore, I was not born yet.
So you mean to tell me that it's under Trump that homicide went down? Maybe it's because Trump is deporting people. This guy didn't change a single policy. Why would crime drop by half if this dude didn't literally do anything? First of all, he downgraded the charges, so now certain things are not considered crimes. So that's one of the reasons why crimes drops. The other reason is because Trump is actually deporting illegal aliens. So, like, what are we doing? Like, these people pat themselves on the back. It's like, we saved the country because there's less crime. Meanwhile, quite literally, Trump is deporting the murderers. It's crazy. It's honestly insane. It's insane that we need to live like this. I don't even know why. So here we have masked mobs just attacking police cars, and we have the people talking about how actually there's so much less crime in Maryland. The clown world. Actual clown world. Now, to understand the level of dominance that we are about to witness in Texas, as well as in New York, we'll get to Texas, don't worry. This is McDonald's advertisement throughout all of Europe. This is in Germany specifically. During the day, they don't put French fries in the McDonald's thing because Happy Ramadan. But at night, the billboard does have French fries because Ramadan, you fast during the day, and you eat all night long. So essentially, not even exaggerating, they don't want to offend Muslims by putting food on billboards when Muslims are fasting. This is the level of capitulation that we're witnessing. And this is fucking McDonald's. This is McDonald's. They don't want to deal with that shit. All right? Now, the craziest thing is McDonald's food isn't halal, right? They're not allowed to eat it anyway. Like, it's not like McDonald's is even food for Muslims. It's not halal food. Muslims can't eat at McDonald's. But they still don't want to offend them. And they're not even customers. They're just afraid they're going to burn down their stores if they see French fries. This is a real thing, and it's all of their ads throughout all of these European cities. Happy Ramadan, buy a McPlant burger, except the box is closed and you can't see the food. But at night, the box opens. This is insanity. I've never seen anything like this in my entire life. This is crazy. Quite literally, they're afraid of terrorist attacks. They're not even talking to potential customers. This is unbelievable. I'm dying here. Like imagine needing to live like this. This is an actual insane world. Now, you have to understand how Ramadan was being celebrated. Not by everyone, obviously, God forbid. But by certain Pakistanis. They literally say directly they celebrate Eid, which is part of the Ramadan holiday, by raping British girls.
Eid rapes. That is one of the shocking allegations coming out of Rupert Lowe's independent inquiry into the rape gangs.
By the way, this was covered up by the British government and is only being released now.
That had stretched across Britain. It was launched just this week.
Today marks the beginning of something long overdue. Today we open the hearings of our independent rape gang inquiry. 2 full weeks of evidence, testimony and scrutiny. 2 weeks in which survivors will finally be heard.
The crowd-funded inquiry, backed by £600,000 from 20,000 ordinary Brits sick of the cover-ups, has just heard testimony that should make every decent person in this country feel rage. Survivor Fiona Goodard spoke of her experience.
There was a phone call once where she tried reporting me missing and she said I was being picked up by Asian men and I was being abused. Now,
Asian men means Pakistani Muslims, by the way. It doesn't mean Chinese guys. Just trying to understand where to target your racism.
the call handler said back to her, you can't describe them as Asian men because that's racist. You should just be glad your child is being taught a different culture.
What?
Well, she didn't mince her words, and she claims that gangs of predominantly second-generation Pakistani men and other mostly immigrant men targeted vulnerable, white, working-class girls. Here is a damning direct quote from rape gang survivor, that same one there, Fiona Goddard at Rupert Lowe's rape gang inquiry. She said this: some Pakistani men celebrated the Islamic festival of Eid by raping young, white girls.
Isn't that a nice way to celebrate the holiest day of the year? I don't know, man. I personally do other things on holy days, but listen, multiculturalism is beautiful. It's our greatest strength.
Yes.
Someone in my chat just said, I hope this isn't real. This is real, this is confirmed, this is a fact, and you're racist for knowing it.
You heard that correctly. Eid rapes, a religious holiday twisted into an excuse.
Nux, why'd you say it's coming out now? Muslim grooming gangs have been a thing for decades? No, you misunderstand what's going on in the United Kingdom. The grooming gangs have been around for decades with hundreds of thousands of white British girls that were victims to these grooming gangs. The government has been covering them up to the largest extent that they possibly could, and right now, finally, because of Rupert Lowe and crowd-funded inquiries, they're finally getting evidence and testimony together of the actual victims, and they're releasing the details now because everyone knew this was going on, but it was a cover-up. Now, the details are absolutely damning.
Used for barbaric sexual violence against British children. Marilyn Horn, CEO of Freedom from Abuse, said, "I've been called racist, I've been called all sorts of things.
That's right.
I don't care because I know
Coming to Texas, near you.
I'm right. They are not interested in protecting our women, girls and boys because they quite like it in this country." She went further.
That's right.
Some of these girls have been taken from pillar to post, raped in lay-bys on filthy mattresses in hotels, backs of taxis. This is across the country. It is endemic. It is everywhere. These are not animals. They're monstrous, barbaric, evil, vile men, and they have got no moral compass. None. That is damning.
Yeah, so anyway, pretty wild how this just started happening all of a sudden. Now, for those of you that want to understand the level of bullshit going on in England, all right, you have to recognize the insanity of the government. So this is Rupert Lowe, the guy running for the right wing right now.
So much of the human rights for foreign paedophiles, sex pests and murderers
is not giving way. Members may disagree with what he's saying, but we will conduct this in an orderly way.
What about the human rights of the British people? The right not to be raped, stabbed and killed by foreigners who should never have been in our country to begin with.
That's right.
Please spare me the continued moral outrage.
That's right. Shut the fuck up, you absolute degenerates. All right, human rights for the rapists, but not human rights for the British girls getting raped. All right, so Tommy Robinson is actually he fled England because he said something Islamophobic, and they want to put him in jail again. He was in solitary confinement in prison for years because he was Islamophobic in Britain. So he ran from Britain for now, and he's been making his rounds on different podcasts. And dude is not holding back at all, basically warning us what is coming to every one of these areas that open up our borders to people of specific influence.
Yeah, they're not here to work. They're not here to assimilate or integrate. They're here to dominate. Yep. And that's not every Muslim, yeah? But the per se, you have to look at the broad numbers. And I'll give you some numbers, yeah? In the UK, Muslim men make up 3% of the population. They're responsible for 90% of the convictions for rape gangs.
There it is. Right, everyone thought 13% of the population committing 50% of the violent crimes was bad. What about 3% of the population committing 90% of the gang rape? What about that? How's that for a statistic? Like, what? Nothing will make you racist and Islamophobic like facts. All right, it might ruin your life.
90% from a 3% population. Now, 30% of the men convicted are called Mohammed. If you go to Sweden, 63%...
30% of rapists in England are called Mohammed. What? Are you kidding me? Like, what? Let's be real for a second. That's insane.
The rapes, Muslim migrants. There's about 15% Muslim population, but 63% of the rapes. Paris, 77% of the rapes are Muslim migrants. Austria, 48% of the rapes are Muslim migrants. Germany, 58% of the rapes are Muslim migrants. Now,
go ahead, finish.
All these things, so migration and immigration is meant to benefit the nation.
Yeah.
So if we look in Germany, since Angela Merkel, I just said 58% of the rapes are foreign national Muslim migrants. 11% of the rapes in that country last year were by Syrian nationals. They're from Syria. Their passports from Syria. They're born in Syria. They've been brought into the country, we're told, Germans are told, for diversity. It's not for diversity. You opened your borders, you let 1 million men in, you didn't know who they were. Just look at the rape statistics that have gone up from 2017 to 2022. The rapes have gone up 45% in Germany. In the UK, 2023 to 2023, our rapes went from 8,800 to 88,000.
Bro!
88,000 rapes in
88,000 rapes a year, bro.
It's gone
from 8,000 to
8,000
88,000.
88,000. Now you take that same statistic and go another 20 years, you're talking 1 million rapes, 880,000 rapes, and nothing's going to stop it. Nothing's stopping it. They're not stopping it. The men that are coming in are hostile. An Afghani is 22 times more likely to commit a sexual assault and rape in Britain than any other nationality, than British nationality.
Bro.
Why are they coming in?
Why are we doing this? Like, why we're killing ourselves, and these numbers are gonna offend you, and they're Islamophobic and stuff. But it's unbelievable. And this dude's been going everywhere spreading this.
My investigation identified 260, so that's 26%. Another inquiry into Telford by a law firm identified over 300. So 20 to 30% of the men in that town were raping our children.
If that's not the most radicalizing shit in the world, I don't know what is. Now, again, I don't want the 30% of Muslim rapists to ruin it for the 70% of Muslims that just want to integrate and live a peaceful life. But we don't need to open our borders to this. We don't need to do this to ourselves. We don't need to kill ourselves like this, dude. This is insane. Now, in fact, this just happened today, actually, or last night, rather. Scum once again defaced the greatest leader Britain ever had. This is Winston Churchill's monument, you know, absolutely vandalized with the Free Palestine shit, globalized the Intifada. All right, like, it's insane. They are welcoming people into their country that hate them and want to overthrow them. It's not right, bro. It's ridiculous. And it's this weaponized empathy that's completely insane. In Spain, a Senegalese migrant who raped a 14-year-old girl will pay a fine instead of going to prison. What? 26-year-old migrant raped a girl on that he met on Instagram. Despite the migrant admitting in court he raped a kid, he was sentenced to 60 days of community service and a fine. Essentially, that's just legalizing rape if you pay for it.
Say something negative online about Islam, make a hateful comment against LGBTQ or trans or any of these narratives and agendas, and you'll face prison. What they are basically doing is legalizing the rape of our daughters and our women in Europe. We see this in Sweden, we see it in Germany, we see it in the UK. No prison sentences for migrants and refugees who are entering our nation and raping our women. Like, how can that make sense? How can you get 31 months in prison for a tweet?
That's quite literally the suicidal empathy of the West. All right, we have given feminism all the power to have empathy for the retards that we're bringing into our country, and they're killing us.
Like Lucy Connolly, but you don't go to jail for child porn or raping our women. We need a revolution within every institution in Britain.
Yeah, quite literally. And so I just wanted to go on this little side tangent before we get into the Texas situation, because it is coming here too. All right, thank God it's much less. It's not as major. Now, in Dublin, one of the safest cities in the world in 2003, Dublin, one of the top 10 most dangerous cities in Europe in 2024. What changed? What happened in those 20 years? What happened in the 20 years since 2003 to 2024? What happened that made it one of the safest cities in the world to one of the top 10 most dangerous cities in Europe? Can you explain that to me for a second? What happened? What changed? Who was brought in? Now, this is complete insanity. It doesn't stop, and it's every day.
Individual family stories. One of the very first was from a grandfather who rang from Rotherham, who wanted to talk about his granddaughter. 1 month after her 13th birthday, she'd gone to school and then gone missing, and the school had rung her mum, who'd immediately rung the police, who'd said, "Don't worry, love, she'll turn up as soon as she gets hungry." She didn't turn up that afternoon, that evening, and at 2:30 in the morning, the next morning, a woman on the other side of Rotherham had picked up the phone and dialed 999 because she'd heard a young girl screaming in the house next door. Police had gone round to the house. They found this 13-year-old girl with another young girl. She was almost completely naked, she was blind drunk, and she was with 7 adult Pakistani men.
Oh, this man's racist, put him in jail. That's essentially what we're doing here. Put him in jail, he's being racist. He's racist, put him in jail. Churches are on fire. Almost every day there's another church burning down. Yesterday there was a church on fire in Italy. The day before there was a church on fire in Montreal in Canada. The day before there was a church on fire in England. It's probably a coincidence that all these churches decide to simultaneously combust with no investigations. All right, look, here we have Canada. All right, this is what Canada's going through too. It's the same.
And Canada is a white supremacist, colonial, racist project, as is Israel, as is the state of Israel. So I don't even consider myself to be a Canadian because this is indigenous land and this land is occupied. So
again, this is coming from Muslims, the #1 colonial people in the history of the world. How are there 56 Muslim countries? All right, so Canada is importing people that say, I don't see myself as a Canadian, I'm here to conquer Canada.
Land is occupied. So the people who are here, whether they are settlers, we firstly need to educate ourselves about what has happened on this land and what is continuously happening in order for us to be able to understand what our government or this government is doing abroad and on overseas.
This is the resistance that we're going to continue to see, and as a result, neighboring countries and those who are fighting in solidarity all around the world will also rise with the Palestinians, and we will see. And then
I said this before, I'll say it again. The Palestine cause is a fake cause on a fake genocide that never happened because Palestinians decided to be terrorists, murder and rape a lot of innocent people, and then they lost a war that they started. And now Palestine has been utilized as this gigantic retard Trojan horse for morons across the Western world, basically saying, look at what's happening in Palestine. They lost a war that they started and they're using human shields. Well, now we have to rape your women. That's how it works. Sorry, rise up. Rise up. Now we have to rape your women in Canada now or something. And it's essentially what we're seeing, right?
Let go.
Like, you are getting images like this coming out of every single migration-heavy country.
What's going on? Let go of her. Let go of her.
Give me my phone. She's my girlfriend. You gotta come.
Well, you can't touch her like that. What happened? Did she fall off?
Right, so his girlfriend that he's dragging down the street. Like, dude, this is insane shit. It really is. It's unbelievable. And we're forced to tolerate this. We're forced to say this is normal. All right, meanwhile, these are the people we're bringing in. All right, in Bangladesh, Muslim men are protesting women's rights by hanging female effigies and beating them with shoes. You really think these are the people? These are the people? Like, are we serious? These are the people that we're bringing into our countries? Like, these are the people that are going to assimilate with our values? Like, what are we even talking about? Like, quite literally, people are trying to bring in people from these cultures into our cultures. Why? Why should we do this? Why should we be forced to do this? It's complete insanity, right? And you see, like, even people like Nick Shirley asking basic questions, right? He's not some hard-hitting Islamophobic guy, right? Asking basic questions, and every single response is just like, wow, holy shit. They hate us and want to dominate us and conquer us.
Now you have all these Islam men yelling Allah Akbar. I have a question for you guys. If America were to get in a war with a country like Iraq, who would you guys defend, America or Iraq?
We won't get in a war. That's not permissible for us. But at the same time,
yeah, because Muslims are known to be peaceful people that have never started any wars.
Who would you defend first?
We would support our brothers in Iraq.
We're importing people that quite literally want to overthrow us.
That's the only way.
So you wouldn't defend America?
We would not defend America.
But you're American.
But at the same time, listen. At the same time, America is our country because we.
There it is. There it is. America is our country, but we would fight on Iraq's side instead of America's side. But America's our country, therefore we have rights.
We were born here, but
we are born here. We conquered you. All right, it's our country. We conquered you, but we would fight against you because we hate you and we want to destroy you.
Islamic book. We're not allowed to fight with people that are against our religion, so we just take up the jail time.
So you would
That's
not.
what we do.
So you would not defend America.
I would go to jail instead of fighting for America.
Great. Terrorists in our country. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. We are importing incestuous goat fuckers into our country that quite literally directly admit that they want to fight on behalf of our enemies. Now, I said this was a Texas video, and we have to talk about Texas a lot. So this is the wall that's being built in Texas to, across the Mexican border. They're painting it black. They're painting it black so it could soak in the sun, so that anyone that wants to climb the wall burns their hands and feet. And I think that is absolute cinema. Big, beautiful wall. A beautiful wall. A very hot wall. Oh no, barbed wire. Wee, wee. Trump's southern wall being painted black in order to make it burn anyone who tries to climb it in the Texas sun. Absolute cinema. This was an idea that President Trump came up with. That's what I'm talking for. That's why we love the guy. He's so smart. He's so ingenious. It's incredible. Now, people in Texas, as you can see, this is a bunch of anti-ICE kids beating the shit out of a teacher because the teacher is not anti-ICE enough. Like, again, this is insanity. We don't need to do this. Texas students attack teacher during peaceful ICE protest. Yeah, mostly peaceful ICE protest, I would say. All right, now, for those of you that are unaware, Texas has a number of issues. Before we even get into the Islamification, everyone that immigrates into our country wants to come to Texas because Texas has low taxes. So, essentially, the red states are getting fucked by the blue states. The blue states are trying to open the borders for people to come in. Then people that actually want to make a living go to the red states because they pay less taxes. It's kind of insane. So anyway, there is a giant H-1B visa scam.
Remember
this map that shows a significantly larger amount?
Did they say no one's allowed to go to war against Muslims? Isn't Muslims at war with other Muslims? Oh, yeah, no, he lies. Why would you ever trust a word that he has to say when his religion dictates that he's supposed to lie to you to advance his agenda? Why would you listen to what he has to say? Are you insane? Your first mistake was assuming anything he would say would be honest, all right? Currently, as we speak right now, there is a war between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Right now, all right? They're bombing the fuck out of each other. Literally, today, this happened.
Of H-1B visas here in Texas than anywhere else in the country? Well, this is Chand Paravantanini. He's an immigration lawyer here in Dallas, Texas, and as of 2024 has approved over 400,000 H-1B visa applicants, and as of 2025 has approved over 700,000 H-1B applicants in Texas.
H-1B visas, by the way, are visas for highly skilled workers, and he's just willy-nilly giving it out to everyone.
Texas. Now you're probably asking yourself, where do these people work? Do they work at places like this? Cute little 4-bedroom, 3-bath houses that are registered to 66 H-1B applicants?
That's pretty weird.
They apparently run a tech company out of this house.
Oh, wow.
This isn't just happening in Irving. It's happening in Irving, Plano, Las Colinas, Frisco, McKinney, Prosper, and more. Because North Texas has been completely overrun and overtaken by both Muslims and Indians.
Yeah, so a lot of people are unaware that this is happening to Texas because even though Texas is a red state, they're trying to stop this from happening. It doesn't matter.
I passed my first...
Y'all have no clue how bad it really is.
...mosque the other day. That was interesting. And you'll be glad to know that there's
Whoa. I'm sensing Islamophobia. We have to move on to the next video. I'm sensing Islamophobia. This is desperately important. Whoa, chill out, guys. We're not going to do this. So anyway, this is a Texas father, a Texas dad, launching an angry rant on Texas schools because the Texas schools are capitulating to Islam.
America is a Christian nation.
Amen.
The principal, 1 year ago, the principal on the same day, World Hijab Day, wore that hijab and said she loved it all caps. 1 year to the day later, on World Hijab Day, Sunday, Monday hits, they're putting our girls in Sharia. They're passing out Sharia pamphlets, hijabs, Qurans, understanding Islam, understanding Sharia. Sharia treats half of this room like and these women are not. This is not a Muslim nation. This is a Christian nation. That principal knew what she was doing, and I am not believing that was 1 or 2 people at that front desk. Fired the principal. You tell the parents, don't go online to get information, but what did they get online? Marco told the truth. That's where they got the information, and you did. Online. Telling us not to go there. This was dawah. Muslim proselytizing, dawah. It's like me as a Christian going into a school and witnessing to these kids. You want me to do that? Let's go.
So essentially, people are really upset about this. It's crazy. People are really, really frustrated that this is happening constantly. And unlike a lot of other immigrants, specifically certain ones of certain religions expect you to capitulate to their religions. Now, and it's only one religion, right? You know, Indians aren't doing this, to be honest. What's dawah? Dawah is basically, it's Islamic preaching to try to convince you to convert to Islam. That's dawah. So anyway, it's pretty insane how this keeps happening. Now, for those of you that are unaware, it's not just that they're invading and building mosques and forcing schools and districts to capitulate. No. It's not just that, but it's our taxpayer dollars that are funding our invasion.
Texas is ground zero for the Islamic conquest of America. We are deep into a 1,400-year Islamic immigration conquest pattern, a patient, relentless strategy of settlement, infiltration, and eventual dominance. The Muslim Brotherhood's 1991 explanatory memorandum entered in federal court calls it a, quote, civilization jihadist process to destroy the West from within. That plan has been capturing Texas for over 35 years. We now have over 330 mosques. CARE calls them, quote, our infrastructure. Erdogan calls them, quote, our barracks. At least 650 Islamic nonprofits channeling influence. Dozens of Islamic scholars and banks promoting Sharia compliance finance. More than $4 billion in taxpayer funds routed to Islamic entities since 2017.
Wow. Taxpayer dollars funding our invasion. That's wild.
Our own money fueling our demise.
So that's pretty interesting. That's pretty wild, I would say. I think that's something worth looking into, maybe, perhaps. Now, the crazy thing is, like, we all knew this was happening if we were paying attention. Like, this was Texas, right? Not even kidding. Like, this is straight up Texas. Again, this is just a classic example of using Palestine as their Trojan horse to take over our countries, right? To infect us with their empathy. Dude, more innocent people died in Iran over the last month than in Gaza over a war that they started. All right? So just to understand how bad it is. All right? So, and they don't care about Iran at all. Where are all the feminists? Where are all the feminists crying about Iran? Oh, they don't exist. Because they're not literally bought and paid for and manipulated by the people that are funneling this shit into our country to push their agenda. It's honestly insane. So, anywho, this is just literal orc noises in our Shire. Yeah, so again, it's unbelievable that we need to tolerate this. Like, why are you doing this in our country? Why are you here? I hear the orcish drums in the halls of Moria. Quite literally, bro. It's insane. So, this is Dallas, Texas during Ramadan. Texas. Yeah, so, you know, honestly, look, we're not England yet, but we're trying. We're trying our best. All right, now, for those of you that are unaware, the mosque population has increased dramatically.
I'm going to tell you why it's always important to follow the money, and we're going to start with a Pakistani man named Syed Havad Anwar.
Sounds like a straight white Pakistani male.
Now, Anwar was
probably a hardcore Christian.
Elected to the Texas Board of Higher Education in 2015 by Greg Abbott. Now, who is this random...
Greg Abbott? You mean the governor that's bought and paid for by the Klingonification of America?
Pakistani man, he's actually the owner of Midland Energy. Midland Energy obviously produces oil and gas for the state of Texas, and although appointed in 2015 to the Texas Board of Higher Education, in 2020 you'll be glad to know that he was Greg Abbott's top donor of $5,599,500 for the 2020 election.
That's weird.
But wait, it gets better, because in 2024 he was also the top donor with $6,120,268.
Right.
But wait, it gets even better, because in Greg Abbott's current election cycle, this man has already become the top donor with a whopping $2,897,086.
Wow.
Now, with a Pakistani man being his top donor, you don't bite the hand that feeds you. So if you're ever sitting here questioning why Greg Abbott isn't putting a stop to the Islamic invasion happening in Texas, there's your answer.
Right. So the governor, in my opinion, is corrupt. I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong that the fact that 50 mosques opened in the last 24 months in just the Fort Worth area, I could probably be wrong about that. But people are unaware of how wild it's actually getting in Texas. The Islamic Epic Candidate Forum in Texas just erupted into chaos.
Wherever it is. I called out Valentina Gomez for calling all Muslims, 30 names and being a complete bigot and trying to get social media followers. I speak the truth. But I also want to say, as someone whose entire family is Muslim, I'm not down with Sharia law. Sharia law says that women on that side of the room are worth half as much as men. Do you all agree with that? That is true. That is 100% true. Sharia law says women are worth half as much as men. That is 100% true.
They're literally mad because he quoted their scripture to them.
100% true. And I'll talk about ICE. I'll talk about ICE. I think what the Biden administration did was a travesty to open the borders and let 20 million illegals in this country. This is a country of immigrants. I'm an immigrant, but this is also a country of laws, and we have to abide by the immigration laws.
So I personally don't think it's a country of immigrants. It's a country that was founded by settlers.
I'm not down with ICE doing all the inhumane things the way that they're handling it, but I also agree that people that are here illegally should be deported. 100%.
That's right. And of course, people come to take the microphone away. Obviously, that's insane. So this is crazy. So this is an Iranian-born GOP candidate from a Muslim family himself saying that Sharia law has no place in America. It's honestly incredible that this has been going on. It's wild. It's wild, and the government is just letting it happen. That's the craziest part. The craziest part is this invasion is happening because our country hates us. Now, there's another Texas situation that's going on because there's a lot of corruption over there. So, Brandon Herrera says, I have now seen some of the text messages between Tony Gonzales, all right, he's a congressman in Texas, and his late aide, Regina Santos Aviles, all right? So, this late aide lit herself on fire and killed herself. It's now clear to me Tony Gonzales is a sexual predator who abused his position and power and wrecked the family. I also know this is not the only case. He must resign. In fact, a lot of people are calling for this retard to resign. Also, Tony Gonzales is in the Epstein files listed as a Democrat. Could you believe this? Tony Gonzales, Democrat, Texas. Could you believe that? The Epstein considered him a Democrat? So again, you have to understand, Tony Gonzales is a Texas quote-unquote Republican that was constantly pushing for extra enforcement and crackdown on gun laws. He is literally a subversive agent. He is literally a subversive agent that is put into power by the retards at B to make believe he's a Republican. He's voting against gun laws and gun rights. He's trying to crack down on all that shit. And it's insane. It's insane that this keeps happening. Tony Gonzales refuses to resign after text messages appear to show him having an affair with a young married female staffer who eventually set herself on fire after her husband found out, and it was all exposed.
Are those...
No.
Not. Are those text messages correct? Are they accurate?
I am not going to resign. I work every day. I work every day for the people of Texas.
But are those text messages? Are they accurate? Are those real text messages?
I am not going to resign. I'm not going to resign. I work every day for the people of Texas.
Sounds like an admission to me.
Did you carry it?
And there will be an opportunity for all the details and facts to come out. What you've seen is not all the facts.
Did you have an extramarital affair with a staffer?
What you've seen is not all the facts, and there'll be an ample time for all of that to come out.
What are the facts? Can you
So what are the
right
facts?
now? Your constituents want to know.
My constituents are not here in D.C. My constituents are back home in Texas.
What do you make of some of your colleagues?
What do you plan to tell the speaker?
No.
Weird.
Are those text messages
So
correct?
apparently he's not planning on leaving or anything, so that's pretty interesting. But I feel like it's really important for me to read you a chapter of the Bible. I know that, thank God, Texas has a very strong Christian community. So I'm just going to read you a verse in the Bible that I like very much. I think it's a very good verse because I think that the Bible grounds you a lot. You know, it grounds you to understand what is moral, what isn't moral, what level of seriousness should we take specific instances, right? Is stealing on the same level of immorality as killing? Well, you know, murder is punishable by death, whereas stealing is only punishable by paying back what you stole. Double, in fact. So, obviously, it's more immoral to murder than to steal. Where exactly would the Bible place this level of morality? So, Leviticus 20:10 states, if a man commits adultery with another man's wife, both the adulterer and the adulteress are to be put to death. Quite literally, why the actual fuck is this guy still in office? Like, I'm not even exaggerating. Like, this is unbelievable. You know, thank God we still have a country that believes in God. How can we possibly leave this guy in office after something like this? How? It's unbelievable. So Tony Gonzales responds on Twitter, I will not be blackmailed. Disgusting to see people profit politically and financially off a tragic death. The public should immediately have full access to the police report. I will keep fighting for Texas. The community note. Tony Gonzales cheated on his wife and 6 kids with his congressional staffer, Regina Aviles, who was married with an 8-year-old and lied about it. Regina's husband confirmed as such, and text from other staffers on Gonzales proves this. Unbelievable, dude. Oh my God, community note, he cheated on his family with a woman who was married, and then she killed herself. And this dude expects us to support him? Get out of here. Unbelievable. So Brandon Herrera is a YouTuber that actually is running for this slot in Texas. All right, now he is running as the political opponent of this Tony Gonzales figure, and I endorse him. Vote for Brandon Herrera, okay? I fully 100% endorse this handsome man that likes guns and likes God, all right? Not even a question. AK Daddy needs the slot. All right, let's see his video covering this, because obviously he's more invested in this than any of us.
This is not a video I ever expected to make.
All right. Well, it's not a video I expected.
And
All right, a strong Christian community. The person that represents them is an adulterer.
take no joy in making it. My plan this cycle has been to continue to tell the truth about Congressman Tony Gonzales and his voting record, how he continues to vote against the Constitution during his time in office.
What a coincidence that he was listed as a Democrat in the Epstein files.
However, in the last few days, the case that I'm about to discuss has become the subject of national debate. And so I feel like I have an obligation to provide the most accurate details possible. I would have never expected in a million years to have to tell the story that I'm about to tell, nor would I ever consider it appropriate if this were mere conjecture. But at this point, these are no longer allegations. This has now been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt to be true, and the truth must be told. The voters have a right to know. And that is why, for the sake of the district, the party, and the country, Tony Gonzales should step down.
Oh boy.
I'll start from the beginning. Regina Santos Aviles was a regional director for Texas 23rd Congressional District, Congressman Tony Gonzales. She was originally from Uvalde and had served prior running the Uvalde Chamber of Commerce. From everyone that I've spoken to and from every account that I've been able to find, she was beloved by the community and took great pride in her work. She joined Tony's staff in November of 2021 and dedicated the rest of her life to serving the district, including her hometown of Uvalde, with various issues that the district was facing. But on September 13th, 2025, first responders were called to her home after an alleged suicide via self-immolation, where she was declared dead the next day from her injuries.
Unbelievable.
She left behind her husband.
Dude, who commits suicide by lighting themselves on fire? Like, yeah, that is not a common suicide, especially for women. All right, like men are normally graphic and shit, but women's suicides are almost always drugs. Like this is unbelievable.
And
in fact, it's quite literally not. I don't believe it, in fact.
An 8-year-old son. Several days after the fact, when asked, Tony said that he was, quote, heart-stricken at the news of her passing.
Sure.
He did not attend the funeral.
Oh my God.
Immediately after, a multitude of media sources, such as Current Revolt, asked a number of questions, including whether or not Tony and Regina were involved in a romantic relationship. Tony Gonzales' office responded to every inquiry except the latter.
Oh, shit.
All records were then sealed by Uvalde PD, from the police reports to the autopsy to any mention of Regina and Tony. This fed speculation, and multiple publications started reporting on the alleged affair between Tony and Regina. This would be a bombshell, as Tony is a married man with 6 children and often uses his appearance as a family man for his public image.
Oh, what a nightmare, bro.
It would also be completely against house ethics rules, subject to an investigation and penalties. Tony, of course, avoided any public scrutiny.
Like, this dude, not only is he ruining Texas and ruining his district, and obviously it's a shame, and it brings shame to, like, the entire community that voted for him and stuff, but, like, he ruined his family's life. He really did. And he ruined this other family's life. And he possibly, likely, is the cause of her death. Either because, you know, she was killed through foul play, or because she killed herself out of shame. But this is unbelievable.
Including running away from multiple reporters.
Multiple media outlets have reported that you had an affair with Regina Santos Aviles. Is there any response you have to that?
We're here at Fort Sam. We're at Fort Sam here at the ceremony. Please.
He was on CNN and called other Republicans Nazis. No shot. Actually, holy fuck, he really is a Democrat.
Have some respect.
I understand, but veterans fought for my right to ask you questions.
Hey, how are you doing?
He also canceled all media appearances and banned journalists and reporters from any of his future events. All of this came to a head a few months later, where for the first time, after no hard evidence had come out, Tony officially denied the affair.
The rumors are completely untruthful. I also say, it's like, I don't know exactly what happened.
Which, as we will soon find out, was a complete bold-faced lie.
Oh boy.
But at this point, with no concrete evidence and an official denial of the affair, the story more or less died for a couple of months. That was at least until early February, where a former Tony staffer from Uvalde who worked hand in hand with Regina for 2 years for the congressman decided to risk potential repercussions and come forward. Not only did he have his personal account of Regina telling about the affair with...
Wait, what? Someone just sent this to me. This is actually true?
Bob Good endorsed my opponent, a known neo-Nazi. These people used to...
He's calling him a neo-Nazi. Oh my God.
Walk around with white hoods at night. Now they're walking around with white hoods in the daytime.
No, dude, those are the Democrats.
Tony, but he also brought forward screenshots of Regina admitting to the affair, specifically texting the staffer, and I quote, "I had an affair with our boss," obviously referencing Tony. He even told about the facilitation of his family cabin for Tony, which he only later found out was used for extramarital activities. After this news started to break, Tony continued to double down and deny any wrongdoing, despite for the first time, material evidence is starting to come forward. Now, at this point in the story is where, unfortunately, I get involved. In Tony's denial, he blamed me for his actions, saying it was my fault that a, quote, disgruntled former staffer was given a voice and that he wouldn't engage in personal smears.
Insane,
which is rich, considering the same person who is now condemning personal smears ran an entire campaign last cycle personally smearing me.
Oh!
Bob Good.
I should have just waited.
Endorse my opponent, a known neo-Nazi. These people used to walk around with white hoods at night. Now they're walking around with white hoods in the daytime.
But what I find most interesting is that now faced with proof, he condemns me and the staffer who came forward with evidence while refusing to deny the claims that have been made. And now, the bombshell.
I don't know, as far as I'm concerned, this is a married man sleeping with a married woman. Fuck this guy. He deserves nothing. He deserves absolutely nothing.
In the last week, Regina's husband has stepped forward. Not only was he personally willing to confirm the affair, but he went on to go and tell his side of the story that he was keeping private out of concerns for his son. Which is completely understandable, but now with the evidence that is coming forward from former staffers, he stepped forward to set the record straight. He also came forward with text messages from Regina's phone, confirmed by forensic software, showing that not only was Tony involved in a sexual relationship with Regina, but that he pressured her into it from a position of power, with her even mentioning several times that he was going too far, and even at one point asking if he was sober. These are only a handful of texts that have been put forward of what I'm told are thousands of texts
shocking, dude.
Between Regina and Tony. Keep in mind, this is a married congressman with 6 children talking to a married female subordinate. From Tony to Regina. Then send me a sexy pic.
Oh my God.
Regina
dude.
says, I swear my life has been a telenovela for the past 7 days. You really don't want a hot picture of me. Tony says, yes, I do. Hurry. She asks, is this a test? Later she says, no, I just don't like taking pictures of myself, to which he replies, I'm just such a visual person. He then goes on to ask her favorite position.
This dude's a congressman?
She asks,
a congressman that suspiciously votes against the Republicans every time?
First, and then goes on to ask, so is this why you're quiet around me sometimes, because you think I'm hot? He responds to this by saying, on top, pinning your legs. To which she then pumps the brakes and says, this is going too far, boss. So how long have you thought I was this hot? He says, what do you like? And then answers, since you worked at the Chamber of Commerce in Uvalde. And then following up on that, reminder, this is a married congressman to a married subordinate.
This is
he
a
asks,
nightmare, dude.
Anal?
Oh my God, dude.
He replies, never. The text then from this point lead to that.
Anal? Anal? Bro, they gotta write that shit on his tombstone. Just anal with a question mark. Right here lies Tony Gonzales. Anal? I feel like that you gotta put that there on the tombstone. That needs to last forever.
Them arranging to meet up at the cabin.
Stop raping, sir.
That then gets picked up by the story that the other former staffer had told, where he unwittingly set up an extramarital affair between his boss and his friend.
Tony Gonzales, bro, get them out. By the way, I've been getting canceled recently, actually, because I actually support the death penalty for adultery. Okay, maybe support is a strong word, but like I'm so done with this shit, dude. We can't live like this. This is insane. There are demons among us.
These texts and the confirmation of a long-denied affair have sparked national outcry. Local state rep Wes Verdell has called for Tony to step down, while members of Congress have either asked for him to suspend his campaign or even outright resignation.
I'm so happy everyone's calling him out for this. Bro needs to go.
And over the last few days, their complaints have made nationwide news, including reaching the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson.
Mr. Speaker, why should Tony Gonzales resign, given these very serious accusations?
There are serious accusations, and it must be taken seriously, and I've told him he's got to address that with his constituents.
It has also come out that the House Ethics Committee has launched its own investigation. At this point, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that Tony Gonzales is guilty of an extramarital affair and lying to his family.
That's enough, by the way. All right, forget the whole, you know, alleged suicide.
Family, the press, and the people. Of abusing a position as a member of Congress for sexual misconduct and wrecking a home to the degree that a young woman is now dead.
Crazy.
Up to this point, my campaign against Tony has been relying solely upon the issues. Problem that I have and his voters have with his voting record. But this goes beyond that now. It is now irrefutable that Tony Gonzales is a wicked man and must be removed.
Agreed.
Now, next week on March 3rd, voters will have the opportunity to have their voices heard. But as we've seen, this goes far beyond politics. While Tony might rightfully lose his job, a husband and son are still grieving a wife and mother. So right now, while I have your attention...
I mean, to be fair, she did cheat on them too. Like, she's not innocent of all this. Like, I think the victim is her husband and her child. While she obviously, I'm not happy that she lit herself on fire, allegedly, but it's not like she's innocent here either. Like, let's be honest.
I'd like to ask you to help me help the family that Regina left behind. In the past few days, I've had the privilege of speaking with Regina's husband, and with his permission...
Yeah, but he held the position of power. No, don't get me wrong. I think he's a monster. I think he's an absolute monster. But she also does have free will. You know, she does technically still have free will. And again, I don't know if he got her killed or if we're going to find out some sort of foul play over here. But I think, in my opinion, they're both monsters. He's a million times worse. And she's
set
dead.
up a GoFundMe to help with the family and specifically to set something aside for the son. He seems like a great kid with a promising future, and we'd like to help them with that as much as possible. And Tony's made it clear he's not only not going to help the family, but instead he's going to go on the offensive and attack them.
Crazy.
So anything our community can do
oh
would be greatly appreciated.
Dude, this poor family, dude.
I'm sure. So there's no sponsor on this video. There's no asks, nothing other than please help us to help a young boy face a future without his mother.
Poor kid.
And lastly,
poor husband.
To Ernest Anthony Tony Gonzales. Hasn't this gone far enough for you? When this all started, my only qualms with you were your voting record. 2 years ago, when I lost that election, we sat down like men. You shook my hand, you looked me in the eyes, and you promised me things would be different. I was genuinely horrified to find out what kind of man I shook hands with that day.
Damn, bro.
And unlike the smears you've done on me, you'll find that nothing I've said in this video was taken out of context. These are simply your words and your actions. This is your last chance to be a man and take some accountability. Step down. For the sake of the country, for the sake of Texas, for the sake of common decency. Step down.
Dude, he's right. He's totally right. Yeah, anyway, no, I definitely endorse Brandon Herrera 100%. Not that the endorsement of a random blue retard on the internet matters, but I definitely endorse this guy. Make him win, all right? Make him win, you degenerates in my audience. Make him freaking win. And no, I just wanted to wrap things up with the word of God, okay? If a man commits adultery with another man's wife, with the wife of his neighbor, both the adulterer and the adulteress are to be put to death. This is the word of God. You're gonna vote for that motherfucker? Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.